To the online class of biology. We were studying about chapter 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, isn't it? So we completed different portions. Now we in this video we are going to study about the development of embryo. In the previous video I have explained you about the double fertilization. Do you remember what is double fertilization? Two male gametes will be released by the pollen grain, okay, during its development as pollen tube, and then one of the male gamete will fuse with the egg and form the zygote, and the other male gamete will fuse with the polar nuclei and form a triploid primary endosperm nucleus, isn't it? That later will be forming what? Endosperm. So endosperm formation also we have discussed in the last video. Okay, so now you understood now male part of our gamete. Pollen grain is not the male gamete, isn't it? So pollen grain produces what? Two male gametes. So in the lower classes you would have learnt as the pollen grain the male gamete. So pollen grain is not the male gamete. It produces what? The pollen the male gametes. Pollen grain is also known as microspore, isn't it? And inside that male gametophyte is there. What is the condition of male gametophyte? They are having only two cells, isn't it? Vegetative cell and generative cell. Now you just compare, that is the male gametophyte, and just compare it with the gametophytes of lower plants. In lower plants, the actual body of the plant, like what? Algae, bryophytes, etc., the actual plant body is a gametophyte which produces the gametes. Here in angiosperms you can see the male gametophyte is male and female is there. Okay, that is also male and female gametophyte both are there, and both of them are highly reduced, isn't it? So when you compare the higher plants and lower plants, you can see that male gametophyte of higher plants will be highly reduced, especially angiosperms. Okay, and do you remember gametophytic and sporophytic phases? Gametophytic phases means what? Which produces the gametes. So here in angiosperms, okay, pollen grain is an example for is the what? Male gametophyte. So what is the sporophyte then? The actual plant body which is having root, stem, leaves, etc. is the sporophyte, isn't it? And it produces the spores. What is the spores here? Microspore and megaspore. Clear? And inside this microspore and megaspore only what is confined? The gametophytic phase. Okay, just for comparison I told. Okay, you have learned that in the 11th class. Gametophytic phase and sporophytic phase will be alternating in the life of plants. Okay, so let's come back to this. So after pollination, pollen grain germination takes place. Male gametes will be produced. This male gametes, one of that will go and fuse with the egg and form the zygote, and the other will fuse with the polar nuclei and form the endosperm, primary endosperm nucleus. And I have explained how this endosperm nucleus will divide and form the endosperm. Endosperm's function is what? It gives nourishment to the developing embryo, isn't it? Developing embryo is getting what? The nourishment from the endosperm. Okay, so we have explained how it is taking place. Now let's study about the embryo development. Okay, so embryo, where it develops? From where it is developing? From the zygote. Zygote is situated where? In the micropylar region, isn't it? In the micropylar region only egg apparatus was there. Egg apparatus consists of what? Synergids and egg. Okay, so egg and the male gamete fuse and form the zygote. Now, zygote development will take place after the formation. Some amount of endosperm will form. After that only zygote development starts. Okay, why it is? Because so that if endosperm is there, it can derive, the embryo can derive nourishment from the endosperm. Okay, so you can see that the embryogeny means what? The stages of embryo development. That is almost same in monocots and dicots. Okay, so you can see that there are various stages, okay, in the development of embryo. That is first, okay, pro embryo will be zygote is will be dividing and forming a pro embryo. Okay, and later what you can see that they will be converted into a globular type, okay, type. Then you can see that it will become a heart shaped one, okay, heart shaped embryo, and then later it will get converted to a mature embryo. Understood? So in that actually it is very long process and lot of facts are there to learn, but in a short form you can say that what zygote will have a pro embryo, and then after particular the division type is very peculiar, longitudinal, transverse divisions takes place, and finally you can see the embryo will get converted into a globular shape, okay, and after that a heart shaped, okay, a heart shaped structure will form, and then what, it will be getting converted to the mature embryo. Okay, so when you see, okay, the structure of embryo, okay, you can see that a typical dicotyledonous dicot embryo will have these parts, the parts of the typical what, dicot embryo. This is an example for a dicot example, not this is the diagram of a dicot embryo. Okay, so you can see that two cotyledons will be there. Okay, then you can see a place, okay, here is the attachment of this what, cotyledons to the embryonal axis. This is the embryonal axis, okay, embryonal axis, and the what you can see the cotyledons. So in dicots two cotyledons will be there, so they are attached here, okay, and this above this, okay, in some seeds you can see that this part will get elongated first, okay, so this part is known as epicotyle, okay, and it will end in the plumule, okay, it will be ending in a structure known as plumule. Okay, so here that is the part which is above the attachment of cotyledons are attaching here, isn't it? So just above that you can see a small part here, it is very small and it is known as the epicotyle, okay, here around here you can see, and which ends in a plumule. Do you know, you have studied in 10th class, isn't it? Plumule will give rise to the shoot system. So this part will give rise to what, the shoot system of the plant later. Okay, then you can see that the part which is just below, okay, below the point of attachment of the cotyledons is known as hypocotyle, okay, and which ends in a structure known as radicle. This radicle will give rise to what, roots, okay, and this radicle will be protected by a root cap. Why? Because root cap is very necessary. While the roots are growing through the soil, it has to face various what, hard conditions. So to protect the root tip, okay, or radicle, what is there, a root cap. This diagram was asked once. Okay, so what we learnt now, structure of a mature dicot embryo. So many diagrams can be asked from this chapter. So you please draw all that in your copies and practice. Okay, so for example, what, structure of pollen grain, okay, structure of microsporangium, okay, then what, section of anther. So all that diagrams you please practice, okay, now itself, so that it won't be a burden for you later. Okay, so all of you draw it in your copies. Then, so this is what, the structure of a dicot embryo. Okay, so what are the parts of dicot embryo? Dicot embryo consists of what, an embryonal axis, okay, and two cotyledons. The portion of the embryonal axis above the level of cotyledon is called epicotyle, and that will end in a plumule or stem tip. And the portion that is just below the cotyledon, that is where the cotyledons are attaching to the embryonal axis. Okay, that lower portion is known as hypocotyle, and it ends in what? In a radicle or root tip. Okay, and the root tip is covered with a root cap. Is it clear? Then next we are going to study about the structure of a monocote embryo. As you know, in monocotyledonous seeds, they will have only one cotyledon, isn't it? And that cotyledon in grass family we call it as scutellum. What it is? Scutellum. Okay, scutellum is what the can be asked for your exams. Okay, 5 marks multiple choice questions are also there, objective type. So in that also it can be asked. All this terms be very thorough with you. Okay, so scutellum is what? It is the cotyledon of the grass family or monocot. Okay, and you can see that it is located to the one side of the embryonal axis. Okay, so you can see the diagram here. So this is the scutellum. Okay, scutellum that is situated to one side of the embryonal axis. Okay, and the embryonal axis will have what? It's one side. Okay, the lower side you can see the radicle. Okay, you can see here radicle and the root cap. Okay, and it will be covered by a structure known as coleorhiza. Okay, and in the other part you can see that the shoot apex, which is covered by a structure known as coleoptile. So these are the parts of what? Monocot embryo. So what are they? There will be one cotyledon, and that cotyledon is known as scutellum, and that is situated towards one side of the embryonal axis, and at the lower side of the embryonal axis is having what? The radicle. Okay, radicle and the root cap that will be enclosed, okay, in a sheath like structure. That sheath like structure is known as coleorhiza. Okay, what is it? Coleorhiza. Okay, and the portion that is above the in the embryonal axis is called what? The epicotyle, that is the scutellum where it is attaching to the embryonal axis, and just above that part is known as epicotyle, and epicotyle will have a shoot apex and some leaf primordia, means which will give rise to the leaf later. Okay, and that all the structure will be covered by a sheath. That sheath is known as coleoptile. Is it clear? So this is the structure of a monocot embryo. Okay, this is actually the LS, longitudinal section of a embryo of the grass. So this diagram also you have to practice. Okay, practice this diagram also. Okay, let us do some revision of the chapters that are going to come for your exam. That is first chapter of genetics, that is the principles of inheritance and variation. First question: when capital A small a is crossed with small a, okay, that is A is dominant over small a, capital A is dominant over small a. The choices are: all the offsprings will have dominant phenotype, all the offsprings will have recessive phenotype, 50% of offspring will have dominant phenotype, and 50% will have recessive phenotype. 75% of offspring will have dominant phenotype, and 50% will have recessive phenotype. What will be the answer? Okay, it is just like a test cross, isn't it? The dominant here the heterozygous parent is crossed with the recessive one. So the answer will be the ratio will be 1:1. So the answer will be C, isn't it? What is it? 50% of offspring will have dominant phenotype and 50 will have recessive phenotype. Is it clear? Okay. If a genetic disease is transferred from a phenotypically normal but carrier female, okay, listen carefully, phenotypically normal but carrier female means it will be heterozygous, isn't it? To only some of the male progeny, the disease is autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, sex-linked dominant or sex-linked recessive. So what will be the answer? We have studied about the zigzag inheritance, isn't it? Or what to say, crisscross inheritance, where the female will be only carrier and male will be the deceased, isn't it? Or male will have the character. So it will be, example is what hemophilia and all we have studied, isn't it? To form a male, to form the disease in the female, it is very difficult. Okay, especially only to some male progeny this will be carried. Means it should be a sex-linked recessive one, isn't it? Sex-linked recessive means what? What do you mean by that particular character, that particular gene is located in sex chromosome, especially in the X chromosome, and it will appear only if both the alleles are recessive, isn't it? So both the allele will be a recessive. How it will come? Especially in males, XY chromosome is there, isn't it? So males will have what? Only one X chromosome, and if that contains the recessive allele, then that particular character will appear in that males, isn't it? Sex linked means if the genes are located in the X chromosome, especially X chromosome. Y chromosome is having only few genes. Okay, and the recessive means in recessive condition that disease or that character will appear. Okay, so answer is X linked recessive. Hybrid cross, if you get 9:3:3:1 ratio, it denotes that the alleles of two genes are interacting with each other. It is a multi-genetic inheritance. It's a case of multiple allelism. The alleles of two genes are segregating independently. Okay, so 9:3:3:1 ratio, if you get, it was confirming what? The law of independent assortment, isn't it? So the answer will be the alleles of two genes are segregating independently. Is it clear?